I have never understood the point of Prime Minister questions, because Starmer just doesn't answer questions. If he does, then it usually is scripted. In today's video, the Prime Minister is called out for lying again surrounding the budget. His answer? Well, classic Starmer not answering questions and spouting out irrelevant stuff. We will discuss this in today's video, whilst also going over all of the latest news from up and down the country. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and join our fast-growing community. Just a quick one to say we have new Stuck Farmer t-shirts available on our store. Go grab them now. They are available at britishstand.com or check the link in the description. Have a watch.
Mr. Speaker, even he has to admit that they fiddled the fiscal rules. The OBR has actually said that they don't recognise where the additional growth is going to come from. The fact is, Mr. Speaker, the rise in employers' national insurance is going to be a disaster for small businesses around the country. Mr. Speaker, let me tell you about Kelly. For over 20 years, Kelly has run an after-school club business supporting 500 children and families in her borough. In 2024, her national insurance cost was about £10,000. In April, this will rise to £26,000. That is a 150% increase in costs from the budget alone. What is the Prime Minister's message to Kelly and the 500 families her small business supports if it goes under?
I would say this to Kelly. We inherited a very badly damaged economy. We inherited a £22 billion black hole, and we were not prepared to continue with the fiction. We stabilised...
Oh, Ms Lopez, I'm sure I couldn't expect better from you as a PPS as well, Prime Minister.
I would say to Kelly, we are fixing the mess that we were left. We're investing in the future of our country. I would also say to her that the Leader of the Opposition, week 2, wants all the benefits from the budget, but has no way of saying how she's going to pay for it. Same old mistake over and over again.
Mr. Speaker, he has nothing to offer except platitudes. And the fact is that they do not know what they're doing. Their ideological budget was designed to milk the private sector and hope nobody would notice. Now his cabinet ministers are all queuing up for public sector bailouts to his tax mess. If he is going to bail out the public sector, then can he tell us this? Does he think it is appropriate, as the Ministry for Housing has done, to approve a 4-day week for councils that is not flexible working, but is actually part-time work for full-time pay?
Questions based on what we're actually doing are usually better than fantasy questions made up. Mr. Speaker, what did they deliver in 14 years? Low growth, stagnant economy, a disastrous mini-budget, a £22 billion pack hole. And now she wants to give me advice on running the economy. I don't want to be rude, but no, thank you very much.
In some other news, a police officer in Gloucestershire has been arrested on suspicion of supporting the Palestinian terrorist group, Hamas. The officer was detained yesterday by counter-terrorism police, who said the suspected support is related to his online activity. Specialist officers from Counter-Terrorism Policing South West arrested the constable on a property in Gloucester and also carried out searches of an address and vehicle in the area. The police officer was then taken to a police custody unit outside Gloucestershire. Arman Mathison, Assistant Chief Constable at Gloucestershire Constabulary, said this search was part of an investigation aimed at finding digital devices for analysis. He said, "The arrest of a serving officer on suspicion of such a serious offence will no doubt cause our community's concern, as it does everyone who works for Gloucestershire Police. The arrest has been made to allow for a prompt and effective investigation to take place, and we must not draw any conclusions at this stage. Expressing support for a prescribed terrorist group is illegal, as stated under Section 12 of the Terrorism Act. Offenders can spend up to 14 years in prison and/or face fines. Hamas was designated a terrorist organisation in the UK in 2021. The group orchestrated the October 7th terror attack in Israel, the deadliest day for Jews since the Holocaust. Over 1,200 people were killed in these attacks, and 251 were taken hostage, of which more than 90 remain in Gaza, both dead and alive. Israel retaliated, launching a military campaign to destroy Hamas, an action which, according to the Hamas-run Health Ministry, has killed over 43,000 people in Gaza. A week after the Hamas attacks, the UK government's independent reviewer of terrorism said that speeches made at pro-Palestinian rallies may have glorified terrorism. Then Home Secretary Suella Braverman said the full force of the law should be used against supporters of Hamas. In April, a man was found guilty of wearing a headband supporting Hamas at a pro-Palestinian demonstration in London. In some other news, Prince Harry's US visa is on Donald Trump's mind. As the president-elect prepares to re-enter the White House, it has been claimed. Speaking in an interview ahead of the election, Trump told host and ally Nigel Farage that he would ensure appropriate action is carried out if Harry is found to have lied on his visa documentation about the use of illegal drugs. The fractured relationship between the president-elect and the Sussexes was made clear in 2020, when the couple urged American voters to stay clear of Trump, urging them to reject hate speech, misinformation, and online negativity. Lastly, after Sir Keir Starmer pledged to cut greenhouse gases by 81% by 2035, we ask us if the Prime Minister's pledge is the right thing to do. Starmer, who is in Baku for the COP29 climate change summit, made the commitment as Azerbaijan President Ilham Aliyev described oil and gas as a gift from God. However, Starmer is driven to cut carbon emissions during his time in No 10. Speaking to journalists earlier today, the Prime Minister said, "We set out the target, which is an important, ambitious target. What we are not going to do is start telling people how to live their lives." Starmer later emphasised that his Labour government would tread lightly on people's lives, although experts have noted that dietary changes and decreased travel might be required to meet this new goal. The summit, on the whole, was thinly attended, as heads of state from China, France and the US did not attend, although administration officials from the Taliban were invited by the UN. Conservative Shadow Environment Secretary Claire Coutinho criticised Starmer over his comments. She told in an interview, "The thing that I think is extremely worrying is that they've been promising the British electorate something very different. They said that they were going to cut bills by £300 by 2030. But we can now all see in this report that that is simply just not true." Other leaders have also warned against excessively ambitious climate change targets. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán said, "We must continue advancing the green transition while also maintaining our use of natural gas, oil and nuclear energy." Do you think Starmer is right to commit the UK to cutting greenhouse gases by 81%? What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comments section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British political content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.